Hola chicos, good afternoon. How are you? It's a Thursday, 19th of March. Well, folks, I got some news. I became a father again for the third time last week. Oh ho ho. Boy is good, thank God. God is great when we have healthy children. That's one of the most beautiful gifts that you can have. And I thank God for this beautiful day. So I'm on parental leave, which means I have some time to give you. So since we last spoke last time, a lot has changed. The war has intensified. Iran has, in the meantime, hit more targets across the Middle East. They have continued to hit US bases. They have continued to destroy a lot of different topics, especially um, one of the world's largest gas facilities or storages in Qatar. In the meantime, the United States continues to degrade the Iranian military, and there are rumors that some Marines, hoo-ah, Semper Fi Marines, are on their way from the United States, from Japan, to maybe, plan a ground operation. I don't know how that will pan out, but we will continue to see this. Um, so the gas prices have been higher. Oil prices have been higher. Ural's price, the Russian oil, is now trading at $98 to $100, and the Indians are buying it up like no tomorrow. A lot of tankers that were sometimes heading to China have been diverted to India. Indian tankers continue to be allowed through the Straits of Hormuz, Chinese, I believe, as well, and Russian too. So there, history legends did a nice video about it. Over 18, 19, 20 ships have been damaged or have been destroyed in this whole episode. So we as Europeans are about to be hit with the triple threat, which is higher oil prices, higher gas prices, and a war in Ukraine that continues to drain our funds ridiculously. So in the mix, in the balance right now, there's another $90 billion euro loan, which is thankfully being blocked by Hungary and Slovakia. Our Belgian Prime Minister the other day came out and said we need to finally come to terms with the Russians. There's a lot of opposition. It seems to me that there are very few common sense or level-headed politicians left in Europe. We seem to be completely lost when it comes to this strategy right now. The only real thing that we don't seem to be able to do is to say, take an L, is to realize that we lost continuing to support Ukraine, and therefore we cannot, we continue to go deeper into this quagmire. Therefore, we need to reevaluate our position and stop demonizing countries like Hungary and Slovakia, because apparently we don't want gays and LGBT, radical LGBT stuff on the streets, and gay pride parades and degenerates walking down the streets. Let me clarify that whole topic. I have nothing against gay people. I have nothing against lesbians. Matter of fact, gay people were at my wedding in India. They traveled from Belgium to be at my wedding. So there's nothing wrong with what you want to do in your own bedroom. I have nothing against it. The law in most European countries is settled. So it's not a debate we need to be having. The only thing that I oppose is to have degeneracy. Okay, so that aside, we seem in Europe, a lot of politicians seem to be very keen on demonizing Hungary and Slovakia and Poland for being a bit more traditionalist. But I mean, that's the beauty of Europe. Either you live with the differences or you can't. We can't all be forced to think alike, okay? We can't all be, sold by this idea that, wow, everything that's happening in Ukraine is, wow, perfectly dotted and T'd and I'd, you know what I mean? that we cannot ignore the golden toilets and the bricks of gold and cash being flown through Hungary. I don't know why Ukrainian banks should be doing that. Anyways, that aside, there's a lot of questions to be asked. There's a lot of critical thinking to be had. And to say, why are we continuing in this project when all we are doing is continuing to throw a huge amount of money into weapons industries while in every other industry we fall back? Why our energy costs are among the highest in the world? Why we continue to only now take baby steps towards nuclear again? Keep in mind those investments in nuclear take decades to fruition. Once a plant is sanctioned, it can take anywhere between 3 decades to get things done. So we're a bit late, but okay, we are trying to nuclearize. So there's a whole dynamic that's happening in Europe. We seem to be completely misjudging this whole thing. We seem to be wanting to continue our battle with the Russians for no reason. I think we need to stop that nonsense. It's only going to cause you more economic hurt. As you can see, Russians will continue to exist. Russians are the world's largest nuclear power, and they will continue to exist, or none of us will. So if you take these basics into account, it becomes very imperative that we fix this issue, get our gas and oil flowing again, give up Donbass to the Russians. It's over. It's anyways people who used to be ethnic Russian who are always living there. It's their lands for decades that we know it. So it makes no sense for Ukraine to continue to throw men it can never replace into the battlefield, because Russia trades material losses for manpower losses when it comes to Ukraine. And it's a 1-to-5, 1-to-7 ratio. Russians are comfortable with that. They would have paid a price if they take Donbass. It's not a small price. They've had thousands of vehicles destroyed, several thousand, 3,000 to 4,000 tanks destroyed. They've had, at least 155 to 200,000 casualties. Matter of fact, shout out to History Legends, who did a very good video. He now has a website where you can compare the Ukrainian and Russian losses. Maybe what I said perhaps is exaggerated when it comes to unaccounted losses in the past, but confirmed losses, he did a very good job, and you will see that it's a 1-to-1, which, 1:1:1. So the Russians are continuing to fight a brutal fight, and the Ukrainians will continue to lose manpower, and that's fine with the Russians. So if you understand this, basics, you will understand that, we can only continue to slow them down at the cost of Ukrainian manpower, Ukrainian villages being emptied out of men, and that's a fact, okay? The rest is all nonsense. And all that money that goes from goes to Ukraine from Europe should be spent in Europe. I've said this before in one of my videos. I said we should never be spending 5% of GDP to defense. It makes no sense. I, as a Belgian, do not feel threatened by the Russians. I feel threatened actually by the over-bureaucracy, things like the 36% unrealized taxes on unrealized gains, like the Dutch just passed. That makes me more nervous than any war with Russia. Understand that, okay? That makes us nervous. People people who are capable, people who have done something with their lives, people who have provided jobs in Belgium. We are scared when people, we get, apprehensive, not scared, apprehensive when we are unduly, targeted. So these are bigger threats to Europe than Russia ever was, okay? And that's a fact. So we need to chill with the Russia. If you have, it's the same with Trump. People will hate the fact that, okay, he went into Iran. Some people love it. The Iranians, a lot of Iranians love it. A lot of Iranians hate it. But either way, he took that decision. There are some costs to be paid. The United States went into a war mode, which means it will bear losses, the same with the Iranians. Now, there will be a cost to both of them. They need to figure it out with the Jews. And the Jews, who do not like to be threatened, by the way. They do not like existential threats to themselves, which is why this whole thing continues to happen. So maybe Iran and Israel can come to an accord that says, you know what, we don't destroy each other. Let's take a chill pill. Let's say thank you, Jesus, because, the Jews and the Muslims, they feel a certain way about Jesus. So we could all agree Jesus is great. If we don't, and beg for forgiveness, and we stop this nonsense, because the whole world deserves to continue to thrive. The whole world deserves to continue to be a beautiful place. But everything is being reversed. We are going, in an environmental tragedy when it comes to all these ecosystems being destroyed in Ukraine. We are, all these oil refineries and gas refineries catching fire. This is really terrible for the environment. This should alarm environmentalists as well. So we as Europeans have much to gain by just being normal, okay? Just being, neighborly with Russia. Really, we do. And we should be chilling, okay? That's my message today. As somebody who's a father of 3 now, as somebody who does this for free, folks. This does not cost you anything. It's just your time. If you're paying attention to this, if you like this message, you need to like and subscribe. Because homeboy is very cool, okay? Very cool, okay? Homeboy pay his taxes. Homeboy take care of business. And homeboy give you free knowledge, okay? Shout out. Give me a subscribe, folks. Have a lovely day. Take care.